Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another movie review. Back with the Steven Seagal movie, directed video movie marathon. And next to be reviewing, which I'm kind of relieved to that is not a rant. It's like a breath of fresh air for once. I get to breathe for once, right? Without losing my head, or losing my insanity. So yeah, it was a breath of fresh air for once. So this is the one which I would say is one of the better, another one of the better Steven Seagal directed video movies, and I'd say it's one of the best, definitely one of the best ones I've seen, and that is of Urban Justice. I said this before that Urban Justice was also one of the better Steven Seagal films. I like Into the Sun. I did. That was decent as well. But I think also I think I liked Urban Justice as a tad bit more. And the funny thing is, this director Don E. FauntLeRoy. This is the same guy who directed some other ones. He directed Mercenary for Justice, and then he directed that awful piece of garbage, Today You Die. Jeez. I just don't know what happened. It's like, he directed two shitty ones. Well, Today Day was one of the worst, but because I did a mega rant on that one. But here, he definitely easily improved with this film, because the thing is, though, one of the things I liked about the movie is that Urban Justice, it was very simple, It wasn't as confusing like all the other ones, like a lot of ones I've been watching, right? The plot wasn't confusing, like the too many freaking things they put into it, right? So, yeah, it was not confusing at all, not convoluted or anything. It was a very simple story. It was a simple revenge story, basically. And that's one of the things I liked about it. It was not confusing, convoluted, anything like that. Not too many plot lines or anything. And so, in this film, it's in L.A., and a guy by the name of Max Ballister, he's a cop, right? And he was doing some investigating like these drug dealers, like taking pictures, right? And he gets on a call saying if it was from a certain informant, right, to meet him at a certain place. He gets there and he gets shot. He gets shot dead. And he's the son of Steven Seagal, who's the name of Simon Ballister. And if it's very simple, he wants to find out who shot his son. That's basically about it. And also the thing is, it's a gang related, because there's these two rival gangs. One is the East Side gang, which your villain is run by Eddie Griffin. Really enough, yeah, Eddie Griffin. And the other one, which is actually run by Danny Trejo. Really enough, which even though Danny Trejo's on the cover here, though, he only appears in one scene in the movie, and that's it. Like as the credits going in the beginning of this movie, like Steven Seagal, then Eddie Griffin, and then Danny Trejo. So, but he only appears in it for one scene in the movie, so he's not in the whole movie. So even though he's on the cover here, though, and which of course later, which funny enough, that Steven Seagal, like, he kicked Danny Trejo's butt years back in 1990 in Marked for Death, which I just reviewed before I started doing this marathon. In Marked for Death, in the beginning of the movie. And of course, and then, because this is 2007, and 3 years later, they'll star again in Robert Rodriguez's Machete, which lame fight they had, and Steven Seagal tried to do a fake accent. I'm gonna start machete on that. Machete. Yeah, that's what it is, machete. But those are dealing with two rival gangs, and Steven Seagal. So he's trying to get info who killed his son. Like, he goes to L.A., rents his apartment with this girl who's renting it. Which the girl who's the girl's name? Carmen Serrano. I thought she was alright. She was okay. And then these two guys, when next to Steven Seagal's car, it's like, hey, this is our hood, and Steven Seagal, which another positive, I guess, a couple positives I could say, this is Steven Seagal doing his own work, not a body double or stunt double, okay, and there's no dubbing or ADR. It's Steven Seagal's own voice. So that's a lot of positives I could say, So, simple plot. No body doubles for Steven Seagal. No ADR. It's Steven Seagal doing his own things in his own voice, which I do appreciate. It's not that hard to do at all, though. So these two guys harassing him. He goes and kicks their ass. And he's asking he's like, we'll fucking kill you, and then Steven Seagal says, well, you tell every motherfucker ever to, I'm gonna, what did he say? He said, like, you tell every motherfucker in the street that I'm gonna keep fucking everyone until I find out who the one who kills my son. The gist of that, basically. And I find this is during that one same scene where he's fighting these two guys. I didn't want to make fun of Seagal in this video, though, but because the thing is, like I said, what I've said about countless times about him, right? I didn't feel like I make fun of this video, but I have to, because there's one scene because I'm like, Jesus, you can't stay away from it, can you? When he's fighting these two guys, right? Right, like, behind, if he's fighting the guys, you see a shot where a building, he's kicking the guy's butt, and it's, like, across the street from a freaking McDonald's. I'm like, oh my god. They have a shot where there's a freaking McDonald's right there. I'm like, was that on purpose, because Steven Seagal likes his McDonald's, okay? I'm like, first in Black Dawn, where it's a carton of fries, fry carton sitting on the dashboard, and he's kicking. He's kicking these two guys' butts, and it's close to a freaking McDonald's. Oh my god! I didn't want to make fun of Seagal in this video because I thought he was actually decent in this movie. But I guess he just can't stay. He just loves his McDonald's so much. But getting back to that, joking aside of that, though, yeah, he says, you tell all these motherfuckers that I'm gonna keep fucking everybody in the streets until I find out who killed my fucking son, basically. And he meets with this other kid named Gary, like, supposed to be like who knew his son, kind of like giving him tips, basically a snitch, basically, saying that who shot his son. He gives like info like it was Danny Trejo who did it, right? So he goes to see Danny Trejo in this club, and he just goes and does a decent fist of cups. He tosses a guy down the stairs, and then he talks to Danny Trejo, and Danny Trejo saying that he didn't kill his son. He knew his son. His son and him were actually on the same page. Being good to each other, right? So they take a shot to kill it together, saying to his son. So Danny Trejo, that's the only scene in the movie he has with Danny Trejo. And then Steven Seagal doing a decent thing where he helps this homeless guy out, gives him his bottle of tequila and a sandwich. And then we get with Eddie Griffin, and I'm like, I mean, Eddie Griffin, I understand, like, from comedic actor he does, try to do a different role, like, playing a villain like he is in this movie, I understand, doing a different role. I get that, though, out of your element, though. But the thing is, with Eddie Griffin, I just don't buy him as a villain. If that's a nitpick I have with the movie, is that I don't buy Eddie Griffin being a bad guy. Personally, especially being all gangster, acting all gangster, like saying motherfucker every single time in a single sentence, right? Are you trying to be like? Are you sure the script wasn't written like a Rob Zombie Halloween, where it's just every 5 seconds, every single sentence where it's cussing like a F word, and every single sentence like whether it's F or mother F, right? It's basically it's like what Eddie Griffin does this whole entire movie. Like every sentence he says, right? But I just don't buy Eddie Griffin as a villain. I know I get when for an actor does like comedies and you're trying to go out of your element to actually be be like a badass villain, right? I get that though, but I just don't see him. I just don't buy him as a bad guy. But I mean, acting wise, Eddie Griffin. I guess he's kind of chewing the scenery, right? When he's just trying to be acting all gangster stuff, right? But and also another nitpick I have was I noticed the filter, like the look of the movie, right? Like the look of the movie, it's like they filter like in a darker tone, right? Yeah, I understand a lot of times what was going on though, but it's like felt like it was like being dark at times, like being filtered to be able to make it look darker. I just don't know why, but like, okay, can the film like brighten itself up a little bit, right? And also with a shaky cam as well. There's like during like this car chase that Steven Seagal has with these two guys. One of the bad guys is actually the brother of the character Gary, and they're giving a car chase, and you see some shaky cam and stuff, right? I think they could have toned down on the shaky cam a bit. But actually, that's some of the nitpicks I have with it, though. But overall, like, I still like Urban Justice. I still think it's definitely one of the best Steven Seagal directed video movies. But I was saying, he finds this one place, and these guys show up, right? Takes one up guy, like throws him down to a table. I guess that one that killed him when he threw him into a table, and then there's one big guy where he. Kicks him in the nuts. Then there's a karate chop in the back, and then he breaks the guy's neck. Do I always like this from where he's behind the guy and he's doing like this and just like, and then he takes his gun and shoots one guy in the ear. And also one thing I give credit to is there's a lot of practical blood squibs in this, not CGI. Because when people get shot, it's very bloody. Lots of very bloody squibs, right? Like from the sun getting shot, like a lot of people in this film, they get shot, they get bloodied up really enough. So yeah, there's a lot of good practical blood squibs in this, and when they get shot, it's just very bloody. And so then he shoots one guy in the ear and trying to get information out of him. And that's where because we talks to Gary again because he was saying that he lied to him because they think it was Danny Trejo who did it though, but actually it was from the East Side gang that Eddie Griffin runs, and also that there's also dirty cops involved, like the lead lieutenant guy named Shaw, which I've seen that guy before who plays this Lieutenant Shaw in this film. I've seen it before because he was in that sci-fi film Boa vs. Python. Yeah, the film Boa vs. Python that starred David Hewitt. David Hewitt from Stargate Atlantis. He stars in Boa vs. Python. This guy who plays this corrupt police officer. He was in that. and so they're crooked cops and them involved as well. And so we go to talk to the guy. Well, first we get this car chase, like I said, with the character Gary's his brother named Isaiah. They chase Steven Seagal. They tried shooting at him, and then I like when Steven Seagal he turns around and starts driving backwards, and leads to the bad guys crashing their car. Decent stump where how the vehicle flips over when it hits this other vehicle. And then he puts a tracker on the younger brother Gary's backpack to see where they're going, and finds where the guy's operation's at, and there's this drug deal is going to go down, but he finds all these stacks of cocaine, and Steven Seagal he switches it out for baking soda because there's this other when Eddie Griffin is dealing with another gang and he tests it out. I was like, oh, this is baking soda. What are you trying to fool anyone, huh? But that comes in a bit later. But because you see that with Eddie Griffin and with the crooked cops, they try to shoot some other parts of this other gang that were doing a money exchange. And when we send bad guys to shoot at Steven's apartment, kills a lot of bad guys. Like I said, lots of good bloody squibs. And I'll tell you where Eddie Griffin he shoots Seagal in the shoulder. He shot him in the shoulder. And then after that goes and well, this other drug dealer goes down and Eddie Griffin shoots these other guys, other gang members, and Steven Seagal kills more bad guys. So some of the crooked cops, and then the lead guy, which when he went to Gary and Isaiah's houses, tossing the place up. Gary, because Gary he lied to Seagal, thinking saying it was Danny Trejo did it, but actually it was that crooked cop named Shaw. He's the one who shot his son. So they go to this other place where Eddie Griffin's where he's at, and kills more bad guys, the crooked cops, including the other one, breaks his neck, and then really enough, I don't know why Steven Seagal thought it was a good idea to let Eddie Griffin go, because he says he has no beef with him, right? He says I have no beef with you, and then he just walks away and lets Eddie Griffin go, right? By walking away from him. And then because when Eddie Griffin goes, oh, that's a cool motherfucker. Now that's gangster. I don't know why he would let Eddie Griffin go, because even though he says I have no beef with you, I'm thinking earlier he shot you in the shoulder, so you got no beef with him even after he shot you in the shoulder. All right. I don't know why though, because he tried to kill you and he shot you in the shoulder, but I don't know. Okay, since I guess that still doesn't count having no beef with your guy, right? And some of the dialogue too, I liked from Steven Seagal. Like I said, what he said earlier about those two guys, and he's trying to act a little gangster as well. Yeah, by Steven Seagal as a gangster, yeah, talking gangster. But as I was saying, then when the girl after he got put in this other place where the girl's cousin was stitching him up, right, and he's saying, "Oh, this is about revenge." He's like, "Damn right, this is for revenge." And she says to him, "You're just as bad as they are." And he says, "No, I'm even worse." And so, and then after he just lets Eddie Griffin go, and then the police come, and then he just walks away. So I forgot to mention, there was other parts of the gang where it was from Danny Trejo's gang that because they were chasing the character Gary down, right? And Steven Seagal comes and helps him and beats these guys up. One of them, actually, really enough, is one of the guys he beats up is Derek Mears. That's what I wanted to mention. Derek Mears, who played Jason Voorhees from the 2009 remake. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the guy who played Jason from Friday the 13th remake from 2009. So it was just funny that he killed Kane Hodder twice in Under Siege and Out for Justice. So he killed that Jason twice. Here he doesn't kill him though, but he beats him up. So then he goes and beats up the other Jason Voorhees, Derek Mears. I'm like, okay. I forgot that he was in this. And I like the fact when he just does more kicks and some flips, and then he goes and grabs one guy by the balls and just karate chops. But Urban Justice, I liked. Now it's on the same level. It's not on the same level as Steven Seagal's Golden movies. It's not. But as far as direct-to-video movies are concerned, this is definitely one of the better ones. I think this one I would probably say is the best one of the direct-to-video ones. I mean, I like Into the Sun was decent as well. Oops, put on the edge of my bed and then it fell down. But I'll get it afterwards. But Into the Sun I liked. This film I think I liked, and despite some of the nitpicks, like I said, like the filtering of the tone of the look of the movie, or like Eddie Griffin, I don't buy him as a villain, and then the shaky cam as well. Yeah, I know I was forgetting, but other than that though, I still liked Urban Justice. Yeah, Danny Trejo, he was only in for the one scene though, even though he's on the cover though, but still, he was only in for that one scene. And the plot was very simple. Lots of good bloody blood squibs, very bloody blood squibs. Steven Seagal, like I said, doing his own fights and doing his own voice. This film, I would say, reach for it. This film I thought was I think it was one of the best direct-to-video Steven Seagal films. I thought it was a very decent movie. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Eddie Griffin, he's not bad in the role though as playing a bad guy though, but he just doesn't fit to play a bad guy. Like I say, he's saying motherfucker every single second, and every single second's like he's starring in a Rob Zombie movie. I mean, you don't believe me? Watch all of Rob Zombie's movie. You have everyone cussing like a sailor in every 5 seconds for every sentence, And you get some decent dialogue from Steven Seagal as well, like I said. So this guy Donnie FauntLeRoy, hell of a lot better than Today You Die. That Today You Die is a piece of shit and kiss my ass. And same with Mercenary for Justice. I think it's easily the guy's best film he did. It's definitely one of the better direct-to-video Steven Seagal movies. Like I said, I like this film. I liked Into the Sun, and then the next one after this, I remember not minding. That is Pistol Whipped. As I'm rewatching this again for the next, which is going to be the next review after this. But I'll get into that though. So let's look at at least 3 movies I liked, from which is out of the 99% of shitty Steven Seagal direct-to-video movies that I've hated. And so I guess I can go on about this list. Like I said, everything I hated, from Today You Die and Attack Force. Those are the worst ones I've watched. From Belly of the Beast, Out of Reach, The Foreigner, Flight of Fury, Mercenary Fights, and Mercenary for Justice. I did say Out of Reach. just all these other ones that just. But Urban Justice, I actually did enjoy, despite its nitpicks. So I still like the movie. Steven Seagal, he was decent in the movie. He was not that bad at all. Probably because he didn't do his dubbing or did his own. Seeing them, no stunt doubles. That's what I'm saying. No stunt doubles at all. But yeah, Urban Justice, I enjoy. It was a very decent directed. It was a very decent directed video movie. But the Urban Justice I liked, so that's why I would give it a thumbs up for this one, just because because this film was a masterpiece compared to all the shitty ones I've watched. Definitely a masterpiece compared to all the shitty ones I've watched. But but that's Urban Justice. I really didn't like it. The score was there, I guess. Yeah, it was just there. But a lot of good practical blood squibs, and especially very bloody blood squibs. But yeah, I liked Urban Justice. Oh, like I said, it's funny where where the two guys from earlier in the beginning of the movie, where he was just, he fights across the street from a freaking McDonald's. What a coincidence. Because we know that Steven Seagal, he likes eating his McDonald's. But yeah. But that's Urban Justice. I like the film. Definitely one of the better Steven Seagal directed video movies. Definitely. But thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one, which will be this next. And we'll see you next time. Later.